Hello, and thank you for joining me once again, your host, Darren Shank, for the Darren Chatter solo podcast. I will be reading yet another one of my blogs so that you don't have to. All you need to do is tune in and listen so that you can partake in the wonderful advice that I share in my blogs. But seriously, I have found this to be a much easier way to consume the content. A lot more people are downloading and listening to the podcast than they are reading the blog. So happy to assist in making sure this information that I'm trying to share gets out there. So today I'll be reading blog number 253 entitled The New Definition of Rich. This was written February 24th, 2021. First things first, do you know the definition of a 1%er, a top 10%? Let's start with these definitions defined by annual income and not overall wealth. There is a chart posted courtesy of MadisonAdvisors.com. And if you are in the top 10% of earning potential in 1 year's time, you make $145,135. To be a top 5%er, you're just over $200,000. And to be a top 1%, by definition of annual income, that is $515,371 per year in income. Now, again, that's annual income, not accumulated wealth. But here's the problem with this view of money. It does not account for debt. I know plenty of people that are eyeball deep in debt despite making over $200,000 a year. In some ways, it really doesn't matter how much money you make if you continue to spend every dime that comes in. If you live in a huge house with rooms that you never bother going into, and you and your spouse both drive brand new cars that you lease every couple of years, you are quickly burning through that income. So is this really the right way to evaluate a top 5 or even top 1% earner? I don't think so. To back up my point, here's a couple of other stats that are pretty scary, courtesy of debt.com. 80% of Americans have consumer debt. The average American has a mortgage of $189,586. The average amount of debt not including that mortgage payment is $38,000. Almost half of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, meaning that a job loss would be catastrophic for them. And 19% of Americans have $0 set aside for emergencies. And just as a sidebar, for those of you considering or already having children, the average cost to raise one child in America until age 18 is $250,000. I don't know if that entails an annual trip to Disneyland or not, but that is before college. That is $14,000 a year per child in expenses. Probably a real good reason to wait until you have your own finances under control before adding something like that into the mix. Statistics show that 80% of Americans have debt to deal with, which means that maybe 20% are actually debt-free. I'm guessing that stat is kind of aiming high. Realistically, if you are debt-free except for your mortgage payment, you're probably in pretty good financial shape. So again, regardless of how much money you make per year, how well you handle your finances, at least in my book, is the first real measure to look at. So if you and your spouse have a combined income of $100,000 and little to no debt, in my mind, you're probably in the top 5% right there, despite the income being lower than the numbers I shared previously. So, with that in mind, let's move on to some additional thoughts here. Mainly, let's talk about strategies to achieve what I'm referring to as the new definition of rich. Again, these are my opinions, as I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. But this list shares some things that I do or have done to get myself into that definition of new rich. Please apply these to your life as needed. Number one, and this was a really big one, stop giving a crap what other people think. That is the number one cause of financial issues. Buying stuff that you don't need, driving a brand new car every couple of years, living in a home with rooms that you never use, having a watch on your wrist that is a quote unquote showpiece, anything else that is an outward display of money to impress others is a huge waste of your hard-earned cash. Get over it. You are not in high school anymore. Number two, live below your means. This is crucial to getting your finances in order. You have to do a monthly budget and stick with that first. You pay yourself money into savings, and then you pay your bills, and then you use whatever's left over as your entertainment or fun money. The more debt you clear off of the books, the more fun money that you will have in your budget. Unfortunately, most people do the opposite. Number three, write a budget and stick to it. This is simple personal discipline and requires a few minutes a month to accomplish once you go through the exercise the first time. The first time you sit down and start tallying everything up is probably going to be 30 to maybe even a 90-minute project, depending on if it's just you or if it's you and your spouse and you have kids to factor in, things like that. But once you get it rolling, it's literally a couple of minutes a month to tweak things, to check in, to make sure you're still on target, things like that. You never have to worry too much about sticking to a budget if it just becomes a habit. So spend some time really dialing it in the first time around, and that will become your new lifestyle in pretty short order. You are an adaptable human being just like everybody else. You can get used to this too, trust me. Number four, pay cash for your car or cars. Once you are on the path of using a monthly budget and getting some things paid off, you may want to add a new, air quotes, new car fund into your budget. And by new, I mean new to you, not a brand new car. It is way too expensive and a horrible investment to buy a new car, any way you look at it. I paid $6,500 and $10,000 respectively for my last two vehicles. They were a 2002 Toyota 4Runner and a 2009 Toyota Highlander Hybrid. Both nice rides, Toyota quality and lack of issues, and high resale value. In fact, I sold my 4Runner for the same price I bought it for after 4 years of driving it. That is winning the game. Never, ever lease or buy a new car. The moment you drive that car off the lot, it has lost 30% of its value that very day. Terrible, terrible investment. Number five, recruit help if you need it. There are lots of books and videos and courses you can take on personal finance, creating a budget, reducing your debt, and saving for the future. I am big fans of both Dave Ramsey and Ramit Sethi, despite them having very different approaches to the same end goal. I recommend that people read both The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey and I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi and decide which one is a better fit for you. You can't combine them because they are opposing ideas. But if you read them both, figure out which one is a better fit for you and stick to that plan, either one of them will really help you achieving your personal finance goals. My main point here is this: it's your life, make your own rules. Stop following the herd and getting stuck in the same traps that everyone else, including me, falls for. In my opinion, the new definition of rich is debt-free, ample time to do the things that you want, and a flexible work schedule, which I include work from anywhere as part of its definition. Again, this is my opinion. You should define your own goals and chase them. My wife and I are really close to hitting the goals we have set out for ourselves for the first 5 years we were married. It is exciting to see this, and this was accomplished in far less time than we actually thought it would take. We both work, and our household incomes do fall just short of that top 10% that I listed above, so keep that in mind if you're using that as a comparison. But we have earned that. It wasn't luck or handed to us or anything like that. We both work hard and we're very diligent, and we follow a monthly budget and the plan that we have mapped out. And with these things coupled together, an awful lot can get accomplished. I wish you luck in your endeavors. And as always, if there's anything that I can help you with, please reach out to me through my website at darrenchatter.com. While you're on my YouTube channel, please hit subscribe and share the videos that you like with anyone else that you think could benefit from that information as well. Thank you, and onward and upward.